What's going on, everybody? Today, Power of the Elements released on August 5th. We got a whole plethora of new strategies, including Spright and Tearlaments, which are probably going to take the top slots for decks in this upcoming format. But we also got a ton of new support for like Gem Knights. We got support for the Neos and Heroes. It's a little bit... It's alright. Crosskeeper's really busted though. I've been doing some testing with that, it's great. But I have a deck profile for you today, and it's one of the cutest decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that is actually pure Melffy. We're not going to be running Melffy Spright. I'm not a big fan of it. Joseph Rothschild, MBT, did a video on that. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's good, but it doesn't feel like optimal. You're just making this gigantic Spright and doing your normal lines and then passing. But with pure Melffys, especially with the new support with Melffy Wally, Penny, and then you have cheerful Melffys, the deck has a lot of grind potential now. Especially because of the fact that Wally gets you a +2 on card advantage, and that can transform into another like plus, and basically a single Obedience School gets you 3 points of interruption in your combo as long as you open one more beast in your hand, which usually you're going to have because the whole deck is filled with nothing but beasts. You can also run board breaking cards and help go through boards with like Alpha Master Beasts, which can be searched off Melfi Caddy because it's actually a beast. There's a lot of plays that this deck can do, and you can also make a Ronin Raccoon to copy the attack of the highest attack monster on the field, and your Ronin Raccoon token can always run over that monster and you can always go plus on it. So the deck has a lot of potential going for it. If you slot in a few hand traps, you can make it going first. If you run board breaking cards, you can make it go second. The only issue with the deck is Melffys are extremely low attack, so they can get hit by deck devs similar to Spright. You can also get hit by like Wang Hu, I guess. There's like certain interactions that it has, and the Melffys themselves cannot out boards, except maybe for Puppy because it can summon Kalantosa, but that's still not enough. You're relying on your abundance of rank 2 power to be able to go into like Sky Sentry Centuria, being able to rank up into a Zeus, or you may go for Joyous Melffys or Cheerful Melffys. You have a bunch of different things that you can do with your rank 2s. You also have Ronin Raccoon, which is basically you're out to most boards if they can't break it. And it's a great follow-up on turn 3 if you're going first to be able to copy like a Shurig that you can make on turn 3. And then you have 2 3k attacks and you can basically attack for game. But the deck's really powerful now. It's got some great support, and I hope you guys enjoy this deck profile. We're going to start off with our main combo pieces that allows us to do most of our boards. If you open one of these in your starting hand, you should be pretty set for the game. First, we're going to be running 3 Obedience Schooled. This is basically the life and blood of the deck. It allows you to basically summon out 3 level 2 or lower beast effect monsters with different names from your deck, but their effects are negated and also destroyed during the end phase. This allows you to summon out your Melffys, to go into your rank 2s. It doesn't matter that their effects are negated, because what you can also do is you can summon out a Tri-brigade Kit, because she's a level 2 beast. And if you use her for XZ material, then detach her, she actually does get her effects. Because she's not negated, like, permanently, she's just negated while she's on the field, and then when she's detached, she's sent to the graveyard and it triggers her effects. Other than that, we're also going to be running 2 Rescue Cat. What I would say is, if you open Rescue Cat plus Obedience Schooled, you're in a really good place. You can normal summon Rescue Cat, then you can activate its effect. If it gets ashed or even Veilered, if it gets Veilered, you would still activate its effect to get it off the field, and then you would go Obedience School to summon 3, then continue doing your combos. The only issue with Obedience Schooled is it locks you into beasts for the rest of the turn, which can be kind of rough, especially because there's not a lot of good beast extra deck monsters. For your link monsters, you have like Tri-brigade Farragut, you have Bearbrum, but with the package that we're running, we're not running Bearbrum in the deck because I don't like playing Revolt in this. You could play Revolt, it's possible, but the Bearbrum still feels a little bit negative because of the fact that you can't link up the Bearbrum. You would have to basically like link it downwards because there's not really any good beasts to go into. Like, the only rank 3 beast that we have, I think, is like Fulgo, the like boss for hire, and then you have Ojama Emperor, but you can't really make those. Foga requires 3 monsters of different types, and then you would just cheat that out usually with a Tri-brigade effect. But besides that, like, it's not really worth it to go into like Bear Brum and try to get the trap. That's my personal opinion, and it also locks you up for the rest of the turn, and sometimes you need it for your combo. You need to keep it going for your combos, so it's not optimal to play Revolt. You could play it as a tech option, but I would say no. So those are our starters. We had the 3 Rescue Cat and the 3 Obedience Schooled. Now we're gonna get off into our Melffys. We're gonna be running 3 Melffy Puppy. We're gonna be running 3 Melffy Catty, 3 Melffy Wally, and then 2 Melffy Penny. So I know it's a little bit hard to see because all their arts are pretty light. They all have the same effect where during the end phase they can summon themselves from the hand. During your end phase they can special summon themselves from your hand. Each one has a different effect. Puppy, if they normal or special or target the card for an attack, then you can return it to hand to summon a level 2 or lower beast from your deck, or just summons a level 2 or lower beast. Usually what Puppy will go into is Kalantosa. If you really wanted to, you could use it to go into Melffy Wally, and then Melffy Wally could cycle itself into like a Catty and another Puppy and have that for follow-up, because then you could trigger the Catty. It's alright. If anything, like, and then Catty, what it does is when it's returned to the hand, it adds a beast. Wally summons 2 Melffys, and then Penny's like Penny and Wally are the 2 new cards. Penny basically says if a face-up beast monster you control was returned to the hand this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand, and immediately after this effect resolves, special summon 1 Synchro monster using only this card you control and Melffy monsters in your hand. And then it says during the end phase, if this card's in your graveyard, you can target 1 Beast XZ monster you control, attach this card to it as material. So the second part where it attaches as material, I don't see it coming up that often because usually they can clear your beast, or you might not have the XZs at the very end. But the fact that you can use it instead of Hop Ear Squadron now is much better, because the issue was with Melffy Catty, you would usually add Hop Ear with Melffy Catty. It does a very similar thing, but at least Melffy Penny is a Melffy name, so you can use it for some of your other Melffy effects. And then you have anything that you can go into. You could go into a Synchro 6 if you have 2 Melffys in hand. You can go into a 4, usually, which will be just Penny plus the Catty, because you added the Penny. Then you can just summon the Penny and use the Catty that added it to go into their new Synchro 4. These are your grind cards, to say the least. So you're running basically like these 9 are just great for grind games. You also can recycle them into the deck pretty easily in this build and continue grinding. If your opponent just can't out your resource advantage, then they'll lose, more or less. Then for our Melffy spells, we're running 2 Melffy Tag. We're running 1 Hide and Seek, which is the grind card, because it says first time each beast monster you control will be destroyed by card effect this turn. It is not destroyed, so basically it gives beasts protection, so it gives all your Melffys protection and your XZs. And then you can target 3 beast monsters in your graveyard with different names, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. And that helps us recycle the Catty, the Wally, and the Puppy. It can also recycle Kalantosa to the deck. It can recycle your Tri-brigades to the deck, like the beast ones, and be able to do your whole combo again. And other than that, we're also running 2 Melffy Staring Contests. One of the cutest cards, in my opinion. You just got Melffy Rabby staring into your soul. What it says is you can reveal 1 beast monster in your hand and add 1 Melffy monster with a different name from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and place that revealed monster on the bottom of the deck. So basically it adds it from the grave and allows you to keep on grinding also. You can only use this effect in Melffy Staring Contest once per turn. That doesn't really matter. You can use it to add Wally, which is really good. At the start of your opponent's turn, or your opponent's battle phase, you can reveal any number of Melffy monsters in your hand and keep them revealed during the battle phase only. Your monsters your opponent controls loses attack equal to combined attack and defense of the monsters revealed by this effect. It may not seem like much, but basically Melffy Staring Contest is kind of similar to like a hand version of DPE for heroes, because of the fact that when I'm doing my combos, I may end up with like 3 Melffys in hand during the end, I'm gonna usually have the Wally in hand because it returned to summon itself. If I have the caddy, and then sometimes I may keep the penny and save the Synchro. So at the very least, you have 3 Melffys in hand, not to mention you may have more depending upon the state of the game. And that is basically, each one of these is a total of 400 in combined attack and defense, so you're decreasing your opponent's monsters by 1200. It may not seem like much, but your Melffy XZs are basically 2000. I believe Cheerful is 2000, or yeah, no, Joyous is 2000 attack, and then Melffy the Forest is 2000 defense. So basically that means that they have to have over a 3200 monster to be able to beat over your Melffys, which can become pretty intimidating. And the more Melffys that you keep amassing in your hand over turns means that they can never really get over your board because you just keep getting too much attack reduction. So they'll have to either focus on outing the staring contest, which in that case you can keep adding them to your hand off of your Melffy of the Forest and then just keep plussing, or they just lose in the grind game and they just can't really out your board, which is pretty cool. The only bad part is the Melffys are just, as I said, low attack and low defense, and if they start outing your Melffys on the board before they can do anything, like with a Dark Ruler, your turn ends. So unfortunately, like, the format's a break my board format with regards to Dark Ruler, so this deck doesn't really have an out for that. If anything, what I was thinking about was running Blizzard instead of probably in like a side deck, and you swap 3 hand traps for Blizzard to be able to counter like the Dark Ruler. And then if you can counter the Dark Ruler with the Blizzard, then you should be in a good place. So those are all of our Melffy cards. I like running 2 Melffy tag because it's another monster reborn. You could also swap 1 Melffy tag for, I think, Melffy Playhouse, which is the trap. The trap is searchable. It allows you to detach materials from your Melffy XZs or your Beast XZs and then like bounce cards back to the hand, which can be pretty cool. It just requires a little bit too much setup in my opinion, and most of the time if you're using Joyful or Melffy of the Forest, then you won't want to really use the effect to add the trap. You want to add like a Wally or a staring contest to get to the Wally. But we're going to also be running 2 Kalantosa. You could run 1. I like running 2 because it's the same issue that you can have with an increase, where if you run 1 and you draw the 1, then it's kind of dead in your hand. The only thing that you could probably swap is if you wanted to run 1 Kalantosa, you want to run 1 Melffy Fenny, because Fenny can then special your Kalantosa from your hand. You can also summon that off of your Wally instead of the puppy, which will practically do the same exact thing at that point. So if you wanted to run 1 Melffy Fenny and have more Melffy names, then run 1 Kalantosa. And when this, I forgot to mention, when this card is special summoned by the effect of a beast monster, you can target 1 card in the field and destroy that target. So you would summon that off Puppy, or you can summon it off Fenny, and then you'd be able to pop a card on the field. And that's part of your combo with Wally, and allows you to basically say 1 Wally is equal to 2 interruptions, because you can go Penny and Caddy to make the new Synchro to bounce a card, and then you can also use the Puppy for Kalantosa and Kalantosa to pop. We're also running a small Tri-brigade engine. We're running 2 Tri-brigade kit, we're running 2 Tri-brigade Nerval, and we're running 2 Tri-brigade Keras. Originally, I was running 2 Keras, 1 kit, 1 Nerval, and I realized that if you draw the kit, it's kind of dead. You would have to waste your normal summon on it for like an All Mirage to send the Nerval and the Keras. But if you drew the Nerval, that was a really hard brick in the deck because you don't really have a good way of getting it out of your hand. So I resorted to basically playing 2 kit, 2 Nerval, 2 Keras, because that means that if I draw 1 kit and I draw 1 Nerval, that's fine, because that means that my Rescue Cat for a kit or my Obedience Schooled for a kit is still live, and then I would be able to do the kit combos, being able to send a Nerval to add a Keras. And then Keras is basically your level 2 beast extension to allow you to go into a second Melffy XZs and continue doing your plays. I wouldn't change the ratio between 2-2-2. I think it's really good, unless you want to try risking a 1-1-1, but I wouldn't do that because that means that you have to risk bricking on a Nerval or a kit. We're running also 2 Alpha Master Beasts. This can be added off Caddy for a turn 3 follow-up if they don't have like the outs, So if you already used your Melffy, like let's say you already used your Wally goes into Puppy and also goes into a Caddy. Caddy can add Penny if you want another bounce, but if you want follow-up, you can either add the Rescue Cat or the Alpha to help break a board. Because if they are starting to set up a board that you know that you can't really out off of the like 2 or 3 bounces that you have, it might just be better sometimes to get the Alpha to be able to beat into one of their monsters and then being able to bounce one of their monsters and help clear their board before going into your plays. Other than that, you can also send it off of Cutest if you have it in hand to be able to special summon Cutest, which can be pretty good. And you can also shuffle this into the deck with your Melfi Hide and Seek to be able to grind out on them and be able to get out like the boss monster again. I'd say this is kind of like the main deck boss monster. It outs Window, which is my main concern right now. In case Tier puts a window on you, at least Alpha can out it. Other than that, we're also running 3 Ash. We're running 3 Ghost Spell, because Ghost Spell is going to be amazing this format. And then we're running 2 Imperms. As I said, there's different parts you can change in the deck with regards to ratios. If you want to take out 1 Melfi Staring Contest and only run 1, you could throw in a 3rd Imperm. If you wanted to swap a Kalantosa, you could put in a Fenny, or you could put in another Hand Trap slot, or a 3rd Alpha. But I think this is pretty good for like your main outs for certain things. Ash, Ghost, and Imperm to stun them, and then you have Alpha to break boards. It's even good, as I said, Alpha's really good even going first because it's fodder for your Cutest, so it's never really dead in your hand. And I think 2 Alpha is a good choice. 1, you don't see it enough. 2, you see it sometimes to be able to have it when you need it, especially when you're going second and you're on your 6-card draw. So I think that at that point, it's worth running it at 2, even in the main deck. But that finishes up our main deck. The main deck is 40 cards. I wouldn't go any higher or lower, but now we're going to go off into the extra. To begin, we're going to start with the XEs. We're going to play Sky Cavalry Centauria, 2 Melffys of the Forest, Melfi Mommy, Joyous Melffys, Ronin Raccoon Sandayu, and Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. Those are all of our XD monsters. Sky Cavalry Centauria is pretty good if you have a Rescue Cat. On turn 3, you can Rescue Cat for make a kit, and then use it for kit and I don't know, any other level 2 beast monster. Then go into battle, attack, rank it up into a Zeus, and then you have a 3-mat Zeus. You can also you just have such a large suite of rank 2s. The only thing is Sky Cavalry Centauria can't be made under Obedience Schooled. If that's the case, sometimes it may just be worth it to make a Melfi Mommy, and if you have enough advantage, the cool thing about Melfi Mommy is the fact that she can attach a beast from the field or your hand to herself, and her +3 effect with attachment says she cannot be destroyed by battle, which is the same exact thing, very similar to Centauria. You still can't make Zeus under Obedience Schooled, but if you want to go for like a 4-mat Zeus and you're going for like, I don't know, if you can get out the Melfi Mommy and you have another beast on field or in your hand, you can Mommy effect, attach the beast to it. It has 3 materials. You attack into one of their monsters. Even though it's 1,000 attack, you just basically take that damage. Then what you can do is you can rank up into Zeus and have a 4-mat Zeus compared to a 3-mat Zeus, which means that Melfi Mommy is pretty good at making 4-mat Zeuses. Melfi of the Forest, if a beast monster is returned to your hand, you can basically target one of their monsters. It can't attack and its effects are negated. And also you can detach 1 material from it to add a Melfi card from your deck to your hand, which could be Wally, it could be Staring Contest, it could be Hide and Seek. In a grind game, Melfi the Forest helps you get through and continue doing all your plays. You can also shuffle this back with Hide and Seek, so you can keep on making it over and over. You also have Joyous Melffys. I don't use its first effect. I don't really like it. It says detach 1 material from this card. Your Melfi monsters can attack directly this turn. That never really comes up. Your Melffys are so small that you're never going to do enough damage to them to be able to do anything worthwhile. If the only thing that really matters is the second effect, which says during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target 1 XZ monster you control. Return that monster to the extra deck, and then you can special summon level 2 or lower beasts from your graveyard up to the number of materials that monster had. So what you can do is, because you'll usually have 2 materials on the Joyous Melffys, you can return the Joyous Melffys to the extra and then be able to summon 2 level 2 beasts, which could be your Tri-brigades for follow-up to be able to make a Shuriken turn 3, which is pretty cool. It also gets out your Melffys if you have them outed by like a Raigeki or a Lightning Storm, and like let's say this was in defense, or they outed it somehow. Like let's say they I don't know. If they impermed your Wally, what you can do is, if you have a Wally in grave, you can Joyous Melffys to summon another Wally and continue to play using that. We also run Ronin Raccoon. Ronin Raccoon is amazing. It says you can detach 1 XZ material from this card, special summon 1 Kagemusha Raccoon token. And then basically it has question mark attack and 0 defense, and it's a level 1 beast type. And when it's summoned, its attack becomes equal to the current attack of the monster on the field with the highest attack. So you can use it to basically out any monster by battle. And then it says, while you control another beast type monster, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So it gets hard to out the Ronin Raccoon. And this can also be shuffled back with hide and seek. So you can keep grinding and making Ronin Raccoon over and over and over to keep on battling, which is really good. Then you have Zeus. It's basically an honorary boss monster of the deck because it can basically out any board by sending all cards on the field to the graveyard except itself. And it's good for turn 3. Those are all our XZs. We're running 1 Almirage for a Link. We're running double Dragon Lords, 2 Farishits. We're running a Rugal, and then we're running a Shuriken. We're running the Solomon Gray Almirage just in case we don't open anything except like a kit. So you can just normal summon your kit and try to do a Tri-brigade line by linking it off for Almirage. We're running double Dragon Lords because you can of course make it off of any of your Tri-brigades. The Farishits can be made just using your Melffys if you have to go into a Link 2. And then Rugal and Shuriken to be able to, like, if we continue going through our lines. Turn 3, I usually would make the Shuriken because we're not running a Revolt in the deck, so that's why I only run 1. Other than that, we're going to go off into the Synchros, and that will finish up the deck profile. For the Synchros, we're running Merry Melffys and Herald of the Arclight. Merry Melffys is really good, just came out. It says, if this card is special summoned, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, return it to the hand. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster, or if an opponent's monster targets this card for an attack, you can return this card to the extra deck, then you can special summon 1 Melffy XZ monster from your extra deck. So if you don't have, like Joyous Melffys on the field, what you can do is if you have Wally plus Melffy of the Forest, you can basically use Wally to go into Caddy and Puppy, Caddy to add Penny when they summon, then Penny and Caddy to go into Merry Melffys. Merry Melffys creates a bounce, and then what you can do is you can return the Merry Melffys to the extra deck, summon out the Joyous Melffys, and then off the Joyous Melffys you can bounce the Melffy of the Forest back into the extra deck to be able to summon a 1 level 2 beast from your graveyard, because usually you would have detached 1 and would have 2 materials left on like the Merry Melffys of the Forest, which is really good. I like its dodging effects. The only other thing that would really summon is Melfi Mommy, but that never really comes up. If anything, it can also summon out like Melfi of the Forest, and then have, if you don't have that on the field, to be able to get its effects if another Melfi is bounced. So it helps set up. I could run 2 and take out like the Almirage, which I was thinking about doing, but for right now 1 seems alright because it's still shuffleable back by hide and seek. And then the last card that we're running, as I said, is Herald of the Arclight. You can synchro off of it because it's a 4, because the beasts don't care. Like Penny doesn't care what you synchro into, you just have to synchro using Melffys. So you can go into Herald of the Arclight. It's an Omni Negate, but it's a when Omni Negate. And it says any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. So this card, in and of itself, is nuts against Tyr, because if Tyr starts milling, they get banished instead. And basically, Herald of the Arclight shuts off a Tyr board if they can't out it. And usually they can't because you still have the Puppy on the field or something like that. So they have Puppy, or you negated it with you negated their ability to attack in an effect with Melfi of the Forest. So basically, Herald of the Arclight against Tyr is just a turn-ending thing. That's why I really like this card, and most of the time I would probably go into this. But if you know that they're not playing Tyr, then of course go into Merry Melffys. But yeah, that's the deck profile. The combo lines are really simple. It's all revolving around Obedience Schooled and Rescue Cat. If you don't open either of those, try to find a way into Melffy Wally, and if you can, then most of the time Wally is 2 interruptions in and of itself, so a Wally plus 4 hand traps is usually more than enough to stall out. But yeah, that's the new Melffy deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys can use this in locals, as I say every single week, or whenever I put out a video. And I hope you guys come back and watch yet another deck profile. I'm thinking the next deck profile I may do is a going second Gem Knight build. I have it fully completed. I got all the cards I could possibly need for each of my decks from Power of the Elements now. And this Gem Knight profile, going second, can play, I've tried it, against like 3 interruptions. So it's pretty good for breaking boards right now. I'd say almost as good as, maybe not almost as good, but it's getting close to Sidra and board breaking, which is really fun because they turned the deck from a burn strategy into an OTK strategy, and you just love beating down people with Gem Knights. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.